it fair to ask for the man to be traditional if you're not traditional?
I mean, they go above and beyond usually. We get experiences that are not what the average person would get. Like,
oh,
but
sure.
You don't have to be traditional to be feminine and to give like a guy like your femininity.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, let's pause. What do you mean by traditional femininity? Because when I think of traditional woman or traditional femininity, I think of modesty, I think of self-sacrifice, I think of discipline, I think of motherhood, I think of being a good wife, I think of dedicating your physical being to your husband exclusively and solely. So I'm hearing the word traditional femininity or traditional woman, and I'm like, what's going on here? Maybe I think we have different definitions, right?
Well, like me personally, I like to like cater to my man, like cook for him, like clean for him, like have all his shit ready for him, like be there for him. You know what I mean?
There's some kind of bug.
It's literally a fly.
Don't worry,
like
it's
that.
not gonna bite you. It's
Is
just
it a
like
bee?
a little, no, it's just a little fly.
Okay, you
it's
guys
a
are all
fly.
scared. I thought it was a bee.
It's it's not a bee. It's not gonna sting you guys. It's just a little bug.
But yeah.
Look, it's just like. Look, we have girls who are sex workers on the show. We have strippers. We have porn stars. We have OnlyFans girls. That's cool. But it's just, to me, it's like, why are you holding men to these traditional standards when sex work is not traditional.
But you don't have to be.
You got an answer for me? What you got?
To be feminine.
I just don't think that like sex workers want to have sex with a lot of different people that casually, because we have sex for a job. From my personal experience, I hate having sex like that doesn't
having sex?
That doesn't have a connection.
Oh, okay.
Like, I like to be really close with someone, and
sure.
I, like I said earlier, get really obsessed and just want to be with them. So like there are those girls out there, whether they're sex workers or not, that will be loyal to you and be really into you. You just have to find the right girl.
But I mean, but here's the thing, just by virtue of being in the adult entertainment industry, you are immediately classed as not being traditional.
So?
But what the point I'm trying to make is if you are not traditional yourself, you ought not expect men to be traditional.
Are you talking about paying for dinner?
Yeah, I'm talking about paying for first dates.
But I think from a perspective
why are we doing traditional as a blanket? Sex work versus paying for dinner, what does that got to do with each other?
Well, I'm saying traditional men
I'm saying you expect men to be traditional, yet you are not traditional yourself.
I don't expect men to be traditional. I want to go to Nobu. I want them to spend thousands of
Wait,
dollars.
that man paying for dinner, that's a function of traditional masculinity.
I want rich high rollers.
Wait, hold on.
I like that.
So, but you're
that's traditional.
You want a guy to be provider. You said you want a guy to take you to Nobu and pay for $1,000 dinner.
I mean, yeah.
Can I ask you what do you feel like
That's
you have
provider.
to offer?
Some really good pussy, some really good head.
But a guy can get that from anybody.
But what if you never ever say no?
What do you mean? What if you ever never?
I mean, I can do things that
like
some
if
girls
you don't say
can't.
no to him.
But I don't think you guys understand that men look at sex completely different than like how women do, and like.
I'll tell you, that type of man you're describing, that attractive, successful, tons of money going.
I'm seeing him this weekend. I'll see you soon, baby.
I'll tell you, that type of man can f as many women as he wants.
It's true.
You're not special to him.
It's true, but the money is special to me.
But he's never gonna. Does it offend you guys that that man will never marry you?
I don't care. But he's already married,
actually.
Yeah, I told you.
So you're helping a man cheat on his wife?
Well, no, because it's my job.
Yeah.
What's your job?
To
escort?
To make men bust nuts.
You're comfortable helping this man violate his marriage?
I'm comfortable making money because he's going to go do it from another girl if he doesn't get it from me. So I might as well make this bank because this man is like double my age, maybe triple. I don't really know. But
no moral qualms for you at all?
She's not married.
I'm not the one that got into a relationship.
But you're implicated in his transgression.
Why do I have
right?
responsibility for what he's the one that, if anything, is
imagine I'm a methamphetamine dealer and I said, well, if I don't sell meth, someone else is going to sell meth to these drug addicts, so it's not my problem.
My mom's actually a meth dealer that's been in and out.
Your mom is a meth dealer.
And she's been in and out of prison my whole life.
Your mom's meth.
That's good.
Let me just write that down. Hold on. Mom's a meth dealer.
Note that down.
Okay. Was a meth dealer.
I think she's just an addict now.
She's turned her life around. That's
no, absolutely not. But it's
I'm sorry
okay.
to hear that.
Thank you. It's okay.
Welcome to
I completely
California.
get it.
Yeah, I love California. I
yeah.
got to get the fuck out of here ASAP. Sorry for
Where
this.
are you guys
this
from?
word. Washington,
DC?
north.
Washington
Oh.
State.
I'm
Northwest,
from the
yeah.
East Coast, actually.
We're on the East Coast.
Pennsylvania, New York.
Pennsylvania. You could have been Amish.
Wow.
You should have been Amish.
Interesting how life
My
works
should've.
family's
out.
not from there.
Interesting how life works out. But okay, you escort, is that correct?
I don't want to answer that.
That's a yes. Well, I mean, you've already. I mean,
incriminating.
you've basically.
She's a sex worker.
Is escorting illegal? I have no
By
idea.
definition,
Is it?
it's legal in California, and it's you're not paying for an act. You're
She's-
paying for time.
She's paying for,
Okay.
or he's paying for her time, not her sex.
Yeah.
But
and
they
then,
do
and then
have
whatever
sex.
happens, happens.
Yeah.
And
Whatever
it's
happens.
really,
happens.
like,
Wink,
But they
wink.
do have
Okay.
sex. Wink,
Okay.
wink, wink.
It's
Okay.
high end.
How much do you make?
What makes it high end versus low end escorting?
I think it's the dollar amount you're making per hour.
Or like
Okay.
who you're f***ing with.
So
No, I
how
don't even
how
think
much?
Because
Oh,
anybody
really?
can scrape up the money. You know, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're the president or, you know.
How much is a
whatever.
low end escort and how much is a high end escort? What's the difference?
Like 100 to like 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000
Per,
an
what
hour.
per hour?
Per hour.
Wow.
Yeah, 1,000 and up would be a high end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
escort.
1,000
And so
an
you're
hour.
high end escort.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotcha. You admitted to it. You're an escort.
You know what?
You know what? Stay
no problem
safe.
with
Okay. I mean,
Someone said I got $5. Final offer.
Oh my God.
Can we split the 5? Each of us gets $1.
I don't know. But
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just so for my personal thing, look, I know it actually does lose me women that I'm not willing to pay for first dates, but at the end of the day, I don't want to feel like a sucker. I've been there before. I
Is
don't
this
want
like
to do
something you're dealing with personally?
it. What do you mean?
Like, is this a
This
problem?
is something that pretty much
But you
all
have-
men are dealing with.
Let me ask you, how do you get out of this? Where do you go from this? You don't want to feel like a
Yeah.
sucker. I don't know if this happened in the past. What now? How do I get you married?
Well, so okay, we'll get to the marriage thing in a
Okay.
little bit because I know you wanted to talk about marriage. So I'm not necessarily opposed to falling into more of a like taking care of a girl. I certainly have the finances to do it down the road. But
Okay.
up front, no. You need to I need to get to know you before I'm prepared to do that.
Okay, but what is that? So you need to get to know her in a way where you're not spending money on her, because if you are, then you might get bit in the ass, or what?
It's really just a matter of principle to me. It's
I
not,
know,
it's not
but-
about
I
the
know, but-
loss of money. It's
I know, and I actually get the principle. I respect that, but how do you, as a man, because you're a single guy in this crazy market right now, how do you move on? How do you navigate this? Do you go to the park and you hang out at the park?
Oh, like how do I do dates?
I
How
just
do you
thought
do
of such a
dates
good
and invest
point.
and also invest no money because you're scared that she might?
Sure. Okay. Oh,
What does that
I'll
look
put
like?
you on some game. What did
Okay,
you have to say?
So if you want so badly to be fair and not pay the girl's meal, doesn't that kind of make the girl have less respect for herself and less self-esteem to be willing to go half and half on a first date? So like, does that mean you're setting yourself up to be with less lower value girls because you refuse to appreciate their value from the beginning?
What do you mean appreciate their value?
Like pay for the dinner.
Why is that appreciating someone's value?
From a traditional standpoint, the man
From a
pays for
traditional
dinner.
standpoint,
Yeah.
but like women are not really traditional anymore. I mean, you mentioned men should be gentlemen. Where are the ladies?
We're right here.
But you just said you're an escort. I mean, like, you're not a lady.
Excuse me?
You're a female, but you're not a lady.
What makes me not a lady?
Well, I suppose I'm not a gentleman.
Because I got in a shitty situation at 18 and did what I had to do to survive and pay my bills.
That doesn't undo the fact that, look, you
that
are
doesn't
not
make
a
me
lady.
not a lady. I'm a survivor. I'm someone that's really strong. Like, I don't understand how I wouldn't be a lady.
Sure, you can be strong, but when I say lady, I'm sort of talking about traditional gender roles. So a gentleman versus a lady.
Yeah.
But traditionally, like,
A gentleman is someone who pays for your date, who protects you, who provides, who's a gentleman.
Do you think we don't deserve that
That's
because
just a
we're sex
man.
workers?
Hmm?
Do you think we don't deserve that because we're sex workers?
It's not a question of deserving and not deserving, but what I'm trying to point out is that as sex workers, you are not traditional women.
What I feel
If
like
you
you're
find that
saying-
offensive that I don't consider you traditional women, I'm sure you can admit yourself
well, you
you're
don't
not a
even consider
traditional
me
woman.
a lady. I just figure you think that I should go like be on the street corner
That's
or
not
something.
well. That's not what I said. But you're not.
What do we mean by lady? What's a lady?
Yeah.
Well,
What is a lady?
A lady would be the counterpoint of a gentleman.
Okay.
So basically, just adhering to
Traditionality.
decorum, and traditional gender roles.
Okay. Okay, so then
So by virtue of being a sex worker, and this isn't me trying to attack sex workers, but you are not traditional. Ergo, you are not a lady.
Well, you're not a gentleman. You do a podcast.
That's
That's
fine.
not traditional.
Well, I don't think my specific.
let me ask you this: what job ought a traditional man have, if not podcasting?
A business.
This
a
isn't-
business.
He's running a business.
This is a business.
He could provide for a woman and 5
CEO.
kids. He's a
C-
CEO
I-
of
Well, so
of
could I. I
whatever,
could
Inc.
provide for kids too. And a man.
But the metric. I mean, the profession of selling yourself.
Either way, a man's paying. What's the difference then if a man pays for an escort or pays for dinner?
Well, if a man is sleeping with
Traditionally.
escorts, he's not a gentleman.
Yeah, they end up paying somehow.
I
Yeah, they always
disagree.
do.
I think a man paying for dinner is looking for something more out of a woman other than just her sweet tea.
Well,
I disagree.
As you said.
I disagree.
Actually, I disagree.
I disagree
Most
because
men are
here's why.
looking just
Because
for
here's why.
pussy.
Because a guy who is going to pay for a first date, he's trying to do everything to stack the cards in his favor in order for it to get to
It's
the finish
competitive.
line.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's
Well,
he's
you-
being competitive, so he's
But what's that finish line? Is it necessarily just having sex? I think genuinely most men want to get married, want to have kids, want to have a family.
I agree.
I think that's what most men want, and you're right. It's very hard right now to do that. Incredibly challenging.
Yeah, but I don't think that if you don't want to pay for the first date as a guy, that necessarily means you just want the pussy.
But it gives the impression to the girl that you don't
wanna be
like her. Like you
serious.
don't like her.
Wait, do you not talk to girls before you take them on a date?
Oh, right. This comes back to your question, like, okay, how does this actually
What's the
play out?
game? Yeah.
How does it look?
What's the strat?
Okay, so, well, first off, no dinner dates.
Okay.
Never dinner dates. So it's either meet for like a tea or a coffee or something. Or you meet for a drink. I'm not a big drinker, but, occasionally I'll have like a glass of wine or a beer. And I'm not really like, I mean, this has changed throughout the years, but here's the game plan. I'm giving you guys some game. So first off, you show up early, or you
Okay.
just show up on time because most of the time the girls are going to be late anyways.
Mm-hmm.
5-10 minutes late. That's my experience. I'd say 90% of the time the girl's going to be 10 minutes late on the first date. So if you get there early, you just talk to the wait. It depends. If it's a sit-down place and they come to you, even if it's for a drink, sometimes there's waiters that will come to you for a drink. You just say, before she's there, you talk to the waiter and you're just like, hey, at the end, just bring 2 checks. Boom. So it's not even like a thing. So he puts a check in front of you, puts a check in front of her. You don't even have to say anything. The other thing is if it's like at a bar, you go up to the bar. If you get there early, you just pay for your drink up front, and you only you have that one drink the entire night. And then when she comes, you're like, oh, hey, I'm holding this table. Already got my drink. Boom, you drink your drink. And then, hey, go to the bar, get your own drink.
So the goal is the meta is to preempt.
the goal, yeah.
You had to get
the
your world
strat.
buffs. Okay,
Get the
Ani
world
had.
buffs, yep.
No, the meta is to sort of kind of like preemptively reduce your risk or your investment.
Yeah, I mean, basically
Okay.
just get there a few minutes early.
Okay.
Play the little game. Tell the waiter you want 2 separate checks. Boom.
Maybe
That way it's not awkward on the date when you're like, oh, 2 checks. There's not like this confusion. The waiter already knows
Yeah.
what to do. You don't have to make a scene about it. Boom, he puts a check here. He puts a check there.
Maybe I'm a big time cuck lord. I don't know. I think with dating, I acknowledge there is a risk, and that risk might be that she's just not going to work out for me.
Now-
and as the man, that's the burden I'm comfortable to accept.
Sure. And I mean, even that applies to my situation too. I mean, the other thing you can do is go do something free. Go for a walk. Go to the park. Now, some chicks are not down with that. Some girls are like, oh, you got to take me to dinner. You got to get me this. Nah, like, if a girl's not down with a free date, if she's not down for a walk on the pier, not down for a walk at the park, she's playing some game.
Sure.
She wants a free meal or she wants something. So
So then you've already vetted her. On to the next one. Okay. Right.
yeah. Yep.
Wait, I have a question.
What's up?
Okay, so can you be like a dominant man and not be like super traditional? Because I think that's what I like. I like dominant men, but that like they don't expect this like super like covered up like nun
Same.
You know what I mean? Like they're dominant,
same.
so like they're like masculine men. They're just not so traditional to the point where they're like, you need to be completely covered, this and that.
Or
Well,
I like guys that are
Some
dominant.
guys like don't. Some guys really don't care that much. Obviously, they're not gonna want you to go out. No guy wants you to go out with your titties out, or even like just in a bikini in general. Like a man doesn't really want.
That's not true.
Well, let me ask you, if
Because men, a lot of the time, like men want their women to themselves.
There's a
and that's
lot
big
of men
part
out there
of-
that are like
Did all the men
confident,
tell you
masculine
this?
men that are